Joining us now from Capitol Hill is Representative Brendan Boyle of Pennsylvania, who is a ranking member of the House Budget Committee. Congressman, it's great to have you here. Welcome.
Yeah, great to be on with you.
How would you tell us to think about the status of this budget bill, the size of it, what's in it right now, and what do you think the implications for the economy are?
Well, first, the Republicans have decided to go it on a Republican-only path using reconciliation, which is a way by which they can bypass the 60-vote requirement in the Senate. Past attempts before at reconciliation have also only been essentially one party going it alone. Now, given the historically small majority Republicans have in the House, literally the smallest since 1930, as well as their small margin in the Senate, the reality is they need almost 100% of their members in order to vote for their plan. If they are unable to get that, then it would enable those of us on the Democratic side to be part of the equation. But unfortunately for now, Republicans are pursuing this go-it-alone, Republican-only path, which means that it actually is quite difficult for them to ultimately pass what they want.
I know for you, Medicaid is a huge issue. I think it's the biggest, government-funded health care program in this country, 78 or 80 million members if you include CHIP and that sort of thing. But there are plenty of folks who would say, according to watchdog reports and things like that, there's able-bodied people using the program who shouldn't be on it. Do we need more information to figure out a path forward on Medicaid in order to make needed changes to the program, or do you think the entire status quo needs to be left in place?
Well, first, let's just be clear about why I'm so concerned about it. 44% of my constituents in Philadelphia are on Medicaid. It's a massive number, as you pointed out, nationally as well. And the Republican plan that passed out of the House of Representatives weeks ago included $880 billion worth of cuts to Medicaid, the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. And some breaking news for you, just in the last few hours, the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office confirmed that if those sorts of cuts become part of the final bill, more than 5 million Americans will lose their health insurance and will lose their Medicaid coverage. So I oppose those sorts of cuts as well as a number of others that are included in the Republican-only bill.
Sure, and I think that brings us back to what footing is the economy on here? I mean, tell us from your point of view in Pennsylvania how things look for your constituents, especially if the proportion you suggested are relying on Medicaid.
I go back, and I say this not just as a member of Congress, but as a daily viewer of CNBC. 3 months ago, no one on your network, not one economist from Moody's or S&P or any of the econometrics firms, not one was predicting that we would actually see the economy contract in the first quarter. All of the consensus projections were for growth. The only question was how much growth. And yet now here we are. Last week it was confirmed directly because of President Trump's tariff policies. The economy contracted 0.3%. And we saw prices jump just as we were getting inflation down to that 2% target that would enable the Fed to cut rates. Instead, we saw prices and inflation jump to the mid-threes. This is entirely due to Donald Trump's reckless tariff policies. We should be working together in Congress on a bipartisan basis to reclaim our tariff authority and bring some sort of sanity back to our tariff policies.
So understood. As far as I can tell, or as far as the data seem to show, if they don't pass an extension of the tax cuts on top of this economy that you're already describing, I think it's 80% of Americans, something like that, could face a slight tax hike in the next couple of years. So would you be on board with doing something about that piece of it? And how do you get there otherwise, especially with the deficit position we're in?
Yeah, I just want to make clear there's actually no debate between the two parties when it comes to preserving the tax cuts for those who make under $1 million a year. In fact, Democrats offered that as an amendment in the Rules Committee. Every Democrat voted for it. Every Republican voted against it. We have time, of course, until literally midnight on December 31st at the end of this year in order to get this resolved. But to be clear, again, Democrats want to join with anyone on the other side of the aisle to preserve tax cuts for working families. The question is the tax cuts for millionaires and billionaires. Will they continue or not? That is really the only area of disagreement between the two parties as it relates to tax rates.